Casey's day had started like any other, with nothing remarkable to note. However, everything shifted the instant she crossed paths with him. There was an undeniable allure about him that held her in its grip. When she received the note, her sole intention had been a simple act of kindness towards another person. Little did she know that it would leave her overcome with tears. Casey Fisher's life mirrored that of many others. She had encountered her fair share of highs and lows while growing up in Connecticut. Her childhood, though generally normal, was far from a constant stream of sunshine and roses. From a young age, Casey absorbed invaluable life lessons, particularly the notion that life showed no mercy and sometimes demanded a struggle to achieve one's desires. As a single mother, Casey faced unique challenges, well aware of the numerous women, both young and old, who embarked on the challenging journey of raising children solo. Nevertheless, Casey didn't dwell on these difficulties. She exuded vitality and beauty, believing that her big break in life was on the horizon, though she couldn't have been more mistaken. Providing for her 2 children proved to be an arduous task for Casey. She was a youthful woman who felt somewhat unprepared for her life circumstances. Despite the inevitable hardships, her 2 lovely daughters made every struggle worthwhile. Casey's ultimate aspirations were to be an exceptional mother and a successful wife. In addition to her maternal role, she was also a dedicated student diligently pursuing her education. Casey, on the other hand, was able to continue her education while raising her children. She put forth a lot of effort and encountered a lot of challenges along the road. Relationships came and went, but her daughters were the only constant in her life. Despite her difficulties, Casey remained true to herself, and her compassionate heart would eventually change her life. Casey was not much different from other students. She loved going to coffee shops and grabbing a quick meal. Many students were too caught up in their own lives to pay attention to others around them, but not Casey. Despite the fact that many people walked by him on a regular basis, Casey happened to notice Chris, the man who changed everything. In the midst of her frenzy of attempting to achieve her goals, it was evident from the man's clothing and appearance that he was homeless. Casey stood there, watching him scrounge for change before gathering together a few pennies and entering a nearby Dunkin' Donuts. He had a childlike purity about him, with gentle eyes and a melancholy expression on his face. For some reason, Cassie became concerned for him and followed him into the store. Those around her must have thought it was a bizarre sight to see a young girl who offered to buy the elderly gentleman a coffee and a sandwich. Even when Casey invited Chris to join her, he spoke with grace and dignity. It was almost as if he accepted his position in life and never wanted to ask anybody for help. Casey sat down with the man and learned his story. She was touched by all he went through. Chris shared that he was not much different from other people. His mother passed away from cancer, which led him to struggle with addiction. He was not proud of the man he became. Despite all of the setbacks, Chris persevered and did his hardest to remain positive, despite the fact that people were often unkind to him as he was homeless. Casey couldn't stop herself from being captivated by him. Casey was unexpectedly engrossed in Chris's conversation, and the two ended up conversing for nearly an hour. Casey felt so at ease chatting with him that she ended up disclosing some of her own personal troubles and goals. When it was time to leave, Chris requested a pen and looked eager to use it. For a brief while, Casey was perplexed and perhaps concerned about what was going on. Chris used the pen to scribble on a piece of paper. Casey realized then that he seemed to be writing a note. It had clearly been a while since he'd even held a pen, as his hands shook the entire time. Apologizing for his shaky writing, Chris handed it to Casey before they parted. As she read it, her eyes immediately welled up with tears at the words. Chris's note was simple, yet touched Casey so deeply that she immediately felt a surge of gratitude. She had felt drawn to Chris for some inexplicable purpose that day. Now, after reading his note, she finally knew what that purpose was. The note said, "I wanted to kill myself today because of you. Now I do not. Thank you, beautiful person." Casey had her own struggles in life, as we all do. Chris showed her that our own problems may seem huge to us until we realize what others are going through. Casey learned this lesson after meeting Chris and felt a new surge of energy to never give up, no matter how tough things got. As time passed, her unwavering determination and hard work bore fruit. Shortly after her encounter with Chris, Casey shared a heartfelt message about the experience on social media. Almost instantly, her tale of kindness and its profound impact went viral. That day marked a significant turning point in Casey's life. While challenges would persist, she had learned to confront them with renewed vigor, and her life gradually improved. In due course, Casey successfully completed her studies. She later obtained her real estate license and embarked on a thriving career. Her journey had been a long and transformative one, and her daughters had grown older under her loving care. Casey had excelled in her role as their mother. The enduring story of Casey and Chris continues to inspire and uplift those enduring difficult times. They remain a shining beacon, a testament to the transformative power of kindness in a person's life.